I wanted to mention a few books more that talk about SEMs that come more from the causal inference literature. So there's, well, in Pearl's book, like his very famous causality book, this one, well, I don't have the dust jacket, but Causality by Pearl, he has a section on SEMs, and he tries to explain why they fit with his view of causality, and he also talks about the history a little bit of how these researchers viewed causality, and I mean, he's not a historian. I think sometimes he's a little bit inaccurate in that aspect, but still very interesting discussion. And this, we have a question too in the chat. Maybe we can go a little bit deeper into it about causal mediation. And I think, well, as far as I know, this book, the Van der Weel book for mediation and interaction from a causal perspective. So it's based on structural causal models, which are a sort of structural equation model, and with counterfactuals. So it's a little bit, maybe a little bit more theoretical, but there is a desire to make this accessible. It's from an epidemiology point of view, so sometimes there's a lot of focus on binary data, which might be less relevant in certain fields, but and by binary, I mean binary outcomes. So data where you would measure risk ratios, odds ratios, and things like that. But I still think it's a very fascinating book. And the other one I wanted to share, I hope my books do not topple over. Okay. Is the Shedish, Cook, and Campbell. So this book is, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I read it a few months ago, and these are social scientists. So Campbell is a psychologist, and it's not about SEMs per se, but it's, I don't know, it changed a lot how I think of design and causality in fields where you cannot necessarily do randomized trials, or you can, but it's more the exception than the norm. And I think that we can just remind why this is a problem, right? If you cannot randomize your intervention, then you need to use other tools to make sure that the effect you're measuring is not a confounded effect, or it does not come from something else than the actual variable you're interested in, right? When you do the randomized intervention, you eliminate a lot of competing factors, at least on average, that could be the cause of your effect. So you are a lot more convinced that if you see an effect, it is due to the difference in the intervention that you randomized at the onset. But in social sciences, it's very hard. Like, I cannot randomize someone to be depressed, like, and see what is the effect of that on another variable. Or I cannot necessarily always randomize someone to I don't know, to follow a therapy. It might not be possible for different reasons to do that. So if depression is the outcome, well, you say, okay, I want to see the therapy effect. I cannot necessarily randomize someone to therapy, so I need other tools to take care of this. And the tools in this book, the Shadish, Cook, and Campbell, they are all related to design. It's not about statistics in this book. They talk about statistics, but they want to show that according to them, at least, you cannot correct a flawed design with statistics. And I think we both tend to agree with that.